is up, guys? EJ here, back with another video, and today it's going to be my DVD update for September 12th, 2013. So I've got 8 new movies to show you, all from the 1960s, working my way up through the decades to complete my collection eventually. Yes, I'm working on films from the 60s at the moment. This has a very distinctive Western feel. There's 5 Westerns in this group, and all sort of the big 3 are highlighted with, of course, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, and Jimmy Stewart. So let's get started. So up first we have El Dorado from 1967, starring John Wayne and Robert Mitchum, directed by Howard Hawks. Really good Western. Robert Mitchum plays a sort of alcoholic sheriff dealing with a corrupt cattle rancher businessman, and John Wayne plays his longtime friend, an old gunslinger who helps him out to deal with the situation. Yeah, good movie. It has nothing to do with the mythical place, El Dorado. I think the like the lost city of gold or whatever. But really good Western starring John Wayne. Okay, up next, I don't know why it's taking me a while to pick up these movies, because I love the third one, and I've had it a while. And that is well, the first one I'm going to show you is A Fistful of Dollars from 1964. Of course, the quote unquote first spaghetti western. Directed by Sergio Leone, and of course starring Clint Eastwood as the first in the Man with the No Name trilogy. Yeah, I've had The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly from 1966, the same type of 2-disc special edition. Was it Collector's Edition? Yeah, Collector's Edition. I've had that for a couple years now. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite Clint Eastwood films, and one of my favorite westerns in general. But I've never picked up the first 2 until now. So yeah, Fistful of Dollars. The first one, Clint Eastwood goes to this border town where 2 sort of rival gangs, vigilantes, are going at it, and he sort of pits them against each other by offering his services to both of them, and he plays them against each other. Really good film, and like I said, it sort of launched Clint Eastwood to stardom at the time. So yeah, gotta get these great spaghetti westerns. So obviously, I followed that up with For a Few Dollars More from 1965. A little different. Still playing the Man with the No Name character. Clint Eastwood plays sort of a bounty hunter who's trying to find this outlaw called Indio, and he's going up against a sort of rival bounty hunter played by Lee Van Cleef, and eventually, without killing each other, they have to team up to take on this outlaw and his band of vigilantes. Love these Sergio Leone films. Great violence, lots of great humor, just brilliantly shot films. Big influence on Quentin Tarantino, of course, and Django Unchained and all that. And I'm sure if Ian watches this update, he'll appreciate some the Clint in this update. Okay, up next we have The Flight of the Phoenix from 1965. This is the original one. You may have seen the remake. It came out in 2004, I believe, with Dennis Quaid, Tyrese Gibson, Giovanni Ribisi, Miranda Otto from Lord of the Rings, who I really like in that film. It was an okay remake. I saw it and sort of enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. But I really do like the original, starring Jimmy Stewart, who, like I said, appears in the Western that I'll get to. Also stars Richard Attenborough. I hope I got that right. Richard Attenborough, Ernest Borgnine. Same story. Bunch of plane crash in the Sahara Desert in Africa, and this group of they're sort of handy that they're all mechanics or ex-military men. Have to figure out how to rebuild this plane, or sort of make a new plane out of the crashed parts of their existing plane. Really good drama, high adventure, and Jimmy Stewart, you can't go wrong with him. Okay, up next, we have another Clint film, and that's Hang 'em High from 1968, directed by Ted Post. Um, Clint plays a wrestler who's sort of falsely accused by a corrupt lawman, and he's sentenced to death by hanging. But of course, Clint survives and makes his way as he eventually becomes, I believe, a deputy sheriff in a small town, and seeks out revenge on the guys who basically try to put him to death. A really good western, and yeah, big fan of Clint Eastwood, of course, and all these great films in the 60s and 70s that he made, and this is another good one of his. Okay, up next, sort of a departure from the western adventure type of films, and we have Point Blank from 1967, directed by John Boorman of Deliverance fame. This film stars Lee Marvin, Angie Dickinson, I believe Carol O'Connor is in it as well, great actor himself. Really good film. If you've seen Payback, the Mel Gibson film from 1999, basically the same premise. Lee Marvin gets screwed by this group of sort of not gangsters, criminals. They pull off a heist, and they basically take his cut and leave him for dead, and he comes back looking for vengeance. I believe in Payback the sum was $30,000, or was it 70? I think it might have been 70. That Mel Gibson kept on asking for his money. My 30 grand, yes or no? And then bang. In this film, it's 93,000, which obviously back in '67 was a lot more money than 70,000 or $30,000. But really good film. Great violence. Angie Dickinson was sort of a superstar at the time, I believe, and really good film. Always like Lee Marvin and films like The Dirty Dozen, The Big Red One. Really good actor. Cat Ballou also from the '60s, great western. Yeah, Point Blank. Really looking forward to rewatching this. Okay, up next, like I said, Jimmy Stewart. We have Shenandoah from 1965. Directed by Andrew McLaughlin. Stewart plays a Virginia farmer set during the Civil War. He doesn't want to join the Confederates because he doesn't believe in slavery, but he also doesn't want to join the Union, the North, because he doesn't believe in war. But eventually he has to sort of take a stand after his son gets kidnapped. Really great, sort of dramatic western. Jimmy Stewart, great in all those. Lots of great films from the 50s and 60s, and westerns in particular. Winchester, was it 57? I believe is the name of the film. Is one of my favorite westerns starring Jimmy Stewart. And this is a really good one as well, Shenandoah from 1965. Okay, last but not least, not a western, but a war film from the 60s, and a fun one, and that's Von Ryan's Express from 1965, directed by Mark Robson, starring Frank Sinatra and Trevor Howard. Film set in Italy in 1943, of course, during World War II. The SS round up about 400 POWs onto a train that's heading for Austria, and a internment camp, concentration camp, and the allies, the POW allies, figured this is their chance to escape, and they try and take over the train and make for Switzerland, which of course a neutral country at that time. Yeah, really exciting, fun film. I love movies set on trains, and I love movies about World War II. Obviously, I have a lot of war movies and a lot of movies on World War II, and always good to see Frank Sinatra in this type of role. So those are my 8 films for this update. Some good stuff from the 60s. Lots of great westerns, of course. Let me know if you've seen any of these movies and what you think of them. I expect to hear from you, Ian. I'm so glad the EPL is back this weekend, BPL. that international break seemed to take forever, especially when England go 0-0 with Ukraine. Anyway, enough football talk. Back to the movies. Thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see you.
Bond. James Bond.